Alright, so here's the Cycle7. It's toolless and really simple to build, so I'm going to see if I can speedrun it today. There's already a bunch of reviews of the Cycle7 on YouTube, but to catch up for those of you who haven't watched it, essentially what a lot of them are saying is that even though it is a very, very good board, it does lack a little bit of inspiration. In other words, the Cycle7 nails all the points, but does it in a very formulaic way, which would be fine if the landscape it was competing in wasn't so overly saturated, but as it turns out, the sub 200 price point is literally like the hardcore server of keyboards. But I do want to build off those motifs and expand on some things I do like about this board. Of course, you can't buy it anymore. I had to wait in line just like everyone else for the group buy. But what I'm about to mention can really apply to any board that may come out in the future, and I just want to draw attention to these analects and perhaps convince you to consider these factors as well for your next build. Anyways, the kit actually includes a bunch of cool stuff. There's tadpole and strip gaskets, a cable, keycap and switch puller, more gaskets, foam, which I'm not using, and feet. There's also stabs included, but I decided to use TX stabs instead because I'm more familiar with them, but if they are good, let me know. So anyways, the main feature of this board is that the top comes right off with a ball latch system, which I know sounds kind of sketchy, but it seems to be very well executed. There's foam on the inside of the top case and even foam inserts extruded into the bottom case to combat any tolerances with the latch system. In general, it is tight enough where you can pick it up from the top housing, but I wouldn't really recommend that. I'd also like to take a moment to point out that the internals of this board are extremely good for something so cheap. With the boundaries of the entry market being pushed every day, it doesn't seem far off that we can start looking towards perfecting the internals of the board as well and making it unique for those who care. I'm gonna be honest, I really like the FRL layout, and even though it's something I've never tried before, I do think it's nice to pick up something that suits your interests, especially if you do have the luxury of 2 or more boards. The rise of the competitive mainstream category has really pushed the development of keyboards to new heights, but it's also kind of pushed to the side a lot of very rare layouts in favor of something like 65% or 75%. Kind of like how cars have become more monochrome over time. Psychologically, the goal isn't to satisfy everyone, but just to not offend anyone. Even if FRL isn't your cup of tea, I do recommend paying more attention to these less standard layouts as they appear on the market, and when one of them speaks to you, don't forgo the chance to pick it up. As for me, I personally think this layout is S tier and straight up MOG 65%, but you know, that's just me. There's also an RGB indicator on the right side of the keyboard. Some of you who have this board might still think that it's just red and green, but you can actually go into VIA and change it to like RGB or any rainbow puke that you want. I'm not too huge of like an OLED screen on keyboard type of guy, so I think this is like the perfect amount of pizzazz for me. Another thing I enjoy about this board is that it's fast to assemble and disassemble. Today I'm building with an alu plate and Clackbits, but I'm confident to say that this setup probably won't last. Not all boards need to strive for a sub 30-minute build time, but having that board that you can pull out the plate, pull out the switches, maybe even the stabs, and kind of slap it back together really quickly is so nice. One extra thing I would like to see from this board is a convenient way to detach the daughter board from the PCB, because as it stands now, the ribbon cable is really short and it's kind of finicky to get to, even though it is possible. Topping it off with OTC Modo light from OmniType, I decided to put the numero on the right side to be funny, but anyway, this build came out to around $250 and an extra $50 including shipping. And here's how it sounds. To be honest, it doesn't sound the best, but as I said, this probably won't last. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that the Cycle 8 is coming out very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Anyways, I managed to finish this build in just over an hour, which I thought was pretty good, including the fact that I had to film the B-roll for this. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.